Okay, so here we go. As promised, I'm going to be showing you the making of this Wicked show that you saw in my last video. So this is the show we are going to make, and of course, I'll be making the show completely from scratch. So the exact output may vary slightly, but overall, this is the show and you can see my complete workflow. So in approximately the next 1 hour, we'll be making a complete 5-minute show. And of course, if you guys are starting out, you might take a little longer, you might take a couple of hours or even a couple of days. Well, when I was starting out, it used to take me weeks to make a show. So a few days is really not that big a deal. Now, before we jump right into the technical stuff, let's look at some of the idea aspects that I do. It's kind of nice to touch on, but you don't have to follow the same techniques that I use. In order to generate a few ideas and things to build on, I generally use ChatGPT to get some ideas. Also, I have structured the ChatGPT output so that it spits out show idea with exact scene references and what's happening in the scene, even what video should play, what music would play. And don't be intimidated. I don't use this at all, this systematically. I just use this as a rough reference as to what I want the show to be and like rough draft of the kind of scenes I want to add. Since I used to use Photoleap, I also had it create keywords that I can use into Photoleap to generate the facades. Of course, that's no longer my process, but we'll get into it later. As you can see, you can have AI give you idea outputs in the exact format you want, and it can be as detailed as you wish. Okay, so you have mine for reference. Your outputs are not really limited to just titles, like like Wicked Show. The output can be more detailed and much better format than that. Okay, that's all I wanted to touch on. You don't have to do this step at all. Okay, so the next step, let's jump into a video editor just to give you a reference. You can use pretty much any video editor out there. A video editor that helps to do corner pinning is desired because when you play videos and stuff, you want it aligned to the house. If not, it won't look as good, but it's still doable. And if you're not familiar with any video editor, I would always recommend using DaVinci Resolve because it's extremely powerful for you to do pretty much any effect that you wish. And the learning curve with almost any video editing software is roughly similar. So why not learn a tool that's capable of much more? And most importantly, DaVinci Resolve is free. The free version does pretty much everything that you want. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Like I said, you can use any other video editor you're comfortable with, or you can follow along with me on DaVinci Resolve. So here we go. I'll start things off by creating a new project, Wicked Show for YouTube. Just give it a name. I'll just create the project. Here we are in the default screen. Now I'm not going to go over the entire details of exactly how the software is used. You can use a bunch of YouTube tutorials to get yourself familiar with basic edits in DaVinci Resolve. Otherwise, of course, this video will be extremely long. You can also check out my course linked in the description to go over complete details, right from projector selection to all the nitty-gritty details of DaVinci Resolve, okay? But for now, let's focus on making the show, editing the video and stuff, okay? So I go to the edit page. To get some basic project setup done, I'll go to the settings, and my projector is 1920 by 1080, so that's the resolution I'd use. You can have a bunch of templates saved. I usually just like to load a preset template, okay? So just make sure your resolution matches the one for your projector or your map file. Okay, so there we go. First and foremost, I'll import the map. So here's my map file. Of course, this is the front of my house. In the shows that you've seen, I do use two projectors, one for the front and one for the side. So I generally make both sides together. But since most of you might have one projector and pretty much the same resolution as mine, I would like to keep the tutorial more generic. So I'll make the show for one projector as well, okay? So I'll just put the map right here. Roughly any layer would work, but we'll go and get into the details later. Next up, the most important aspect for me is to pick the music. It may not sound as intuitive, but generally, if you pick a good song, you've already won half the battle because the audience likes a good song, and therefore your show and effects does not have to carry the burden of creating all the wow factor. If it's a fun song, it's already an entertaining show, okay? But in this example, what we're going to do is we're going to make a Wicked show. I just don't want to play one song and be done with it. there has to be some level of storytelling, right? So if you've seen shows from people like Project This House or Fit Studios, those are extreme animations where there are characters talking, moving their hands, and literally conveying a story. That's extremely hard to do. It's not realistic for the average person to achieve that in reasonable amount of time. What I'm going to show you is a more relatively straightforward technique when it comes to storytelling. Easiest way to achieve storytelling is to use actual scenes from the movie itself. I do something like Wicked movie scene. And yes, I get it. It's not as sophisticated as actually animating your character, but like I said, we are going for maximum bang for the buck. We are not making a Wagyu steak right here. We are making a good old-fashioned cheeseburger, which is great value. Okay, so that's the expectation here. So you can let the actual movie scenes and audio convey the story, and also it's kind of relatable to the audience as well, so it's much easier in terms of execution. So of course you can find the scenes and stuff that you already know and place them in sequence. But a general trick that I use is I generally use movie trailers. So what I'll do is I'll just get a movie trailer video. So the advantage of using a movie trailer is it generally has all the iconic scenes. It has great music since trailers are designed to keep the audience engaged with cool edits and fun music. So by default, you get a good collection of scenes. Okay, so that's what you can do. And when it comes to actually downloading one of these videos from YouTube, you can pretty much Google any YouTube downloader out there. Getting a video is not that hard. Okay, the same goes with audio songs as well. So first and foremost, you need to get the video and put it on your timeline. And to make things easier for you, the exact video I have used, I have linked it in the description below, so you can pretty much just download that and place it on your timeline. Okay, so here we go. What I'm going to do is import my video. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to put that video in here. So what this also does, it gives you a good idea of the length of the show when you view it. You already know that this is what you're aiming for. Okay, next up, I'm going to stretch the mask out to the entire length of the video. Here we go. Now, of course, mask is the only thing that's visible. So what I generally prefer to do is put the mask on a high enough layer so that it does not interfere with any of the other tasks. So as you can see, it's on like layer 8. So it's all the way up there and it's not going to interfere with any of the video edits. Next up, if you want to see the content below, you need to go to you need to have the map selected. Go to the inspector right here. In case it's turned off, press inspector. And in here, there's opacity. Just reduce the opacity. Okay, so now you can kind of see through the mask and look at the video. I can even turn off the mask right here and you can look at the base video that's here. Okay, that's pretty much what it plays, and you can also see the audio files. So basically we have all the groundwork done. We have our map imported, and in terms of the video that we are going to play for storytelling and audio purposes, that's already there in the video editor as well. Now, next step is to make the facades. You need to kind of think through what are the different looks that you want your house to transition through. So first and foremost, I'll go based on the video. As you can see, the first scene, I'll just turn off the map just to make it clear. So as you can see, the first scene is in Munchkin Land. So this is our first scene right here. Okay, and then this Galinda's entry. So I'm going to make a facade scene for Munchkin Land. Galinda's house, just because she's coming into the scene, it'll be a fun transition. And another important note from all my years of doing projection mapping, you always need to keep switching out facades and create some dynamic transitions. The audience is generally not that interested in listening to every bit of dialogue and minor transition effects. They want to constantly see stuff happening to keep them entertained. So that's why I'll make a few facades, cycle through them, keep switching things up rather than having one facade stay for 4 minutes. Okay, we have Galinda's house, then we have this scene at the university. So I'm going to make a facade for Shiz University, and then this scene I like, it's Galinda's pretty much her room, so I'm going to make a scene for that as well. Then pretty much most of it goes into the university, and then we have scenes pretty much in the Wizard of Oz world. And finally, after all this, I'm just gonna add a scene for a house that kind of resembles the theme of the witch, okay, just to end it on a high note for the witch. Okay, so there you go. Those are some of the few facades I'm gonna make. So let's get started. I personally use Night Canvas. Of course, I'm biased because this is my app. I actually designed it for myself personally to create stuff for projection mapping. So it's extremely catered for projection mapping, and I feel it does the best job. So, but you're free to use any tool that you wish. So first and foremost, here's a website. Here you have two sections, generate image and video. Right now we're just creating facades. So first and foremost, we are in the house facade section. I'm gonna click to upload my map. Give me a second. Here we go. So you know what? I'll make Shiz University first. The output should take around 15 to 20 seconds to populate. And the reason I'm doing 2 is no matter how many outputs you select, the amount of time required is the same. So you can just see multiple options in one go. Of course, it costs more credits, but it's just saving time for your YouTube tutorial purpose. Okay. I think the Shiz University is fairly cool. I just like the theming right here, the way it's written. I'm just gonna download this. You can press the green button right there. So that's it. Now let's make Munchkin Land. Now this one's gonna be tricky because it's not really as straightforward as you'll see. And if you've noticed, I am keeping my text prompts extremely simple. I'm not putting some detailed text prompt. I know there is an enhance prompt button here, which is tempting, but I would recommend using it only if you absolutely need it. Like for example, let's say you're generating a facade for Harry Potter and you don't want to type in every keyword there is. Like you don't want to type Harry Potter, Hermione, Hedwig, Hagrid, literally everything under the sun. That's when you use the enhance so that it gives you all the keywords in one go. The more simple your prompt, the better AI can work with. Because don't worry, the AI behind the scenes does have real world knowledge. So it will pull stuff in. But if you want something specific, make sure to add it in the prompt. Okay, as you can see, Munchkin Land, it kind of gave me like a fun Candyland. It's kind of cool facade. Like my kid would absolutely love this. And especially if I get this characters moving, this would be amazing. But this is not what we are going for. So as you can see, Munchkin Land is hard to convey in words. So there's a different trick we can use in this particular case. So Munchkin Land is available in the initial scene. You can use Google Images for reference, but since I'm doing a tutorial, I'm just gonna go right to the video. Here we go. So I'm just waiting for a screenshot that gets me some of the scenes of Munchkin Land. As you can see, that is Munchkin Land right there. I'm just waiting for a scene where I can see the town. Let's give it a second. Okay, so here, as you can see, in this scene, you can see quite a bit of the town. So here are some houses that I'd like to replicate. Of course, it's extremely hard to put that into words. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab a screenshot. Like I said, you can grab the image from Google Images and stuff, but I'm just gonna grab a screenshot without really the people, okay? That's it. So this is the screenshot that I grabbed, that's all. I'm just gonna call it done, but based on your laptop, you can use shortcut keys. On the Mac, it's Command-Shift-4, and on Windows, there is a snipping tool that you can use to capture screenshots, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is get rid of all the text prompt. We no longer need that. And here I'm gonna upload an image. Here we go. I've uploaded the screenshot that I just captured. You can add up to 5 images. Like for example, let's say you're working on Haunted Mansion. You can add the wallpaper, hitchhiking ghost, and all the different elements right here as images for the AI to incorporate. Again, I'm just gonna go ahead and generate 2 images. Okay, as you can see, this house does seem to have the general theme of Munchkin Land. Here we go. I'd say I like this one more, the one with flowers. For some reason, there are fairies in there. Like I said, with AI, there's only so much you can control. So I'd say I'm just going to use that one because it kind of fits the theme. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of this images. Next, I want Galinda's castle for the time when she comes down from the bubble. Okay. Again, just keep the prompts simple and straightforward. Like I'm tempted to put aspects like Wicked movie and stuff. I'll only do that if this does not yield the right result, because if I put Wicked movie and stuff, it might show me other elements from the movie. Okay, there you go. Straight away we get a nice beautiful pink castle that kind of matches the theme. But you know what, I'm just going to generate a few more. If you accidentally miss saving any images, you can check them out in history, by the way. All your recent outputs from the last month would be here. Okay, you know what, I like the blink here. With projection mapping, the more flashy it is, the better it's gonna look. Okay, because I like this text here and everything. Okay, I'm just gonna go with this one for now. Okay dokie, so we've got Munchkin Land, we got Galinda's Castle, we also got Shiz University. Next we have Galinda's interior room that we need to do. And don't worry, we will get to the video editing part. What I'm doing is quickly generating all the base content that I need, and then we'll jump into the show creation. As for now, let's generate all the facades. Now clearly this one does not match our house map, so sometimes that might happen. I intentionally want to show you all the field outputs as well, because I want to set expectations right, because at times AI can get confused. This is exactly what I wanted. After a couple of failed attempts, what I did was I just put Galinda's room interior dollhouse view. Okay, so that tend to help AI. Of course, you can use this one for your Barbie show as well, but I think this looks great. Okay, that's done. Next up is the Oz world. Okay, I just need a good reference image, and it does not have to look like the house at all. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use. This looks nothing like my house, but you know, there are certain key design elements that are present here. Probably use, again, I'm just gonna grab a screenshot for this. Just click done, have it saved to my computer. Let's go back. To be honest, this has done a pretty good job already, like without any image prompt. But just so you guys can see, I'm gonna use image prompt as well. Here we go. Based on the image prompt, it generated a pretty cool looking house. To be honest, it's extremely hard to get a house like this, especially with the lighting and fading effects. It's extremely hard to get an effect like this manually. So this looks great and it matches the Oz world, but the last scene I have is with the witch flying around. So I want the house to be in her theme, which is kind of green. And like I said, you want to have dramatic transitions that's easily noticeable. So I don't want the house to just transition from one greenhouse to the other. So that's why I'm gonna make this a little different. I'm gonna make this like a mechanical house, because you know, like the wizard is all techy and has all this mechanical gears and stuff going on. I hit the enhance prompt, but you know what, in this case it might work out. So let's see. The enhance prompt, like I said, is designed to add more keywords related to what you added. So let's see what this does. So it's added keywords like brass, copper pipes, riveted steel plates. You know what? I love this. You know what? This has more prominent gears. So I'm just going to use this one, the first one. And finally, let's make the Wicked Witch House. Wicked movie Elphaba. I had to Google Elphaba spelling. Okay, let's see what results we get here. Okay, I'd say these are fairly decent. I'd just like it to be a little more magical. Again, this looks fairly decent, but I would prefer the house to be green. And yep, this is more like it. Let's just review what we did. I'll go over the video first. So as you can see, first we started off with Munchkin Land, then we have Galinda's Castle, then we have Shiz University done as well, and then we have Galinda's room created, and then we pretty much have Oswald and then Witch's house. Okay, now we have static facades to get all this done. There are certain elements that we need to be more fun. So we don't have to use AI to create all of those, but there are certain transitions that would look fun. So we'll start with the Oz world just for a good reference. Okay, so let me jump to generate video and I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Okay, facade that I plan to use for Oz world. Of course, this facade looks good, but I don't want the facade to be a static image. It's not as cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep the prompt simple. Gears spin, and I'll be straight up honest here. Getting the AI to do exactly what you want is extremely hard. This requires some trial and error and you figuring out what really works and what doesn't. Okay, so I'm just going to keep the prompt simple as to gear spin. Okay, here we go. Again, in the essence of time, I'll do 2 outputs and let's see how this goes. So for video output, it'll take a little longer, probably like somewhere between 1 to 2 minutes maybe. So again, it is still way quicker than trying to create animations and manually spin the gears. That would take probably days. So in that sense, this is extremely quick. But here we go. As expected, the gears are spinning well, exactly as I was hoping. I'm not a fan of this robot moving back and forth. Yeah, and in this one, everything's pretty much stable. The robot's not moving. You see this little subtle details like the gears are spinning on the inside. These lights are flickering. Those are the subtle details that I absolutely love. And of course, the fog moving as well. But you know what? Just to show you how I can work with the harder video as well, you can see this robot moving is kind of annoying, but I'm going to use this one just to show you guys how we can make a loopable video out of this as well. So one key aspect here is to keep your credit usage efficient. What I've done is I've used a low resolution output. You can absolutely use this, but you'd have to stretch it out and it may or may not look grainy based on the application. So what you can do is upscale this video as well. Of course, the credits depend on the length of the video, a much higher video resolution. You can upscale the video right from this spot as well, or if you want to upscale any of your local videos, you can go to this dedicated upscale section, upload a video and have that upscale. Upscale is nothing but increasing the resolution. Okay, so to give you a reference, the default videos that we are generating is 480p. And your projector might be 1080p. If I wanted to create a video that's by default 1080p, it would have used 4 times the number of credits. And that's not very efficient way to spend our credits or money, right? So especially with video where the output is kind of unpredictable. So first we generate what we like and only upscale if we want to. Next up, I'd like the witch's house to be animated too. Generally lights flickering and stuff adds some drama to the scene. Of course, you can enhance prompt as well, but here we go. In this one, I would say AI took it a little too far. There's light flickering and stuff, but I don't want a freaking mushroom growing, okay? So that's pretty much out. Let's see this one. Now here, I can see that the house is zooming out. Now, trust me guys, there's like 1,000 rules behind the scenes to make sure that the house doesn't move, but like I said, AI is hard to control. So it's still moving. So I'm going to give it another attempt. I absolutely want to show you guys all the failed attempts too, just so you have realistic expectations of AI. Okay, I like this to some extent. As you can see, some of these words are blinking, which is kind of cool. And this one, it's changing the night sky, but it's also kind of dimming these words. Actually, you know what? I'll use this because as you can see, the images are disappearing, which will look kind of pretty dramatic. Also, these words are kind of flickering. So that's the one I'm going to use. Again, I'll just make sure to upscale it just to avoid any blurry images. It's surely not a necessity, but for tutorial purpose, I'll go all out. Like I said, give it a few seconds. And like I said, all your outputs are visible in history. You can go through them, everything that we've generated, as you can see. Even the upscaled videos are visible right here. So in case you miss downloading anything, you can just refer back to them. Okay, so this one's upscaled and I'm just going to download it. There you go. So that's done. So now what we have done is we basically built a bunch of facades and 2 of the scenes we brought to life. Now another effect that I'd like to show you is some of these transitions from one facade to the other. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to generate video and transitions. I'm going to transition from Shiz University to Galinda's bedroom. Okay, so this is our Shiz University and we are transitioning to the house interiors. So I'm just going to write cool transition. Okay, and you do want to give it some time. Here you don't want the time duration to be something as low as 4 seconds because then AI doesn't really have good enough time to work through all the cool effects. So I'm gonna go 7 seconds here. Okay, let's see. You know what? I like the first one because it kind of adds furniture and curtains and all that stuff. It's kind of neat way to transition. So I'm going to use this one. Okay, let's see how this works out. Now, another transition that I believe would be cool is when we go from the Oz world to the Wizard, because that's like the dramatic climax, right? Okay, I'm just going to call it magical. Again, like I said, extremely hard to predict what AI is going to do. Okay, here's our first scene. As you can see, that transition is pretty cool, right? There is no way I could have done that manually. The way the trees kind of overgrow on top of the mechanical house, the robots going into the pot is kind of weird, but you know what? I'll take it for what it's worth. Let's look at the second one. So this one again is more of a gradual transition. You know what? I like the first one, especially with the trees growing and stuff. Of course, you can select a longer transition for more elements, but this is what I'm going to go with. Okay, so now we are going to go over a feature called Have Fun. This is available for both image as well as video sections, where you can create absolutely anything that you wish. You do not have to enter a facade, start scene, end scene, nothing. You're just free to create anything that you wish. Okay, so in this case, what I'm trying to achieve is I'm trying to create the scene where Galinda descends in her bubble. I'm gonna create that with a green screen background so that I can easily key that out and integrate her into my show. So I can't stress this enough, especially with videos, it's extremely hard to control the output. So more often than not, the video output may not match your expectations. Like for example, right here, as you can see, the bubble is kind of not complete. Her legs are out of the bubble. So that's not what we want, okay? So in this case, I'm gonna retweak my prompt, and this time I'm gonna try the enhanced prompt. Let's see how that works out. Okay, I'd say that's pretty decent, especially the one on the right. That's something usable. Now, does she look like Ariana Grande? No, but now for my projection mapping show, this is certainly something I can work with. For clips that you're not planning to play on the entire house, you don't need to upscale them. Now that we have created pretty much a green screen video out of thin air, there are other green screen aspects in my original video, right? Let me see if I can show you some of the aspects I'm talking about. These flames, they're not part of the original video, right? I added it to the house. Sometimes you need to add extra stuff to your house to make it integrate with the scene much better. Of course, we can generate this flame shooting scene over here and use up credits, but I would advise you, like I said, to use your credits efficiently. For general stuff, you should always check YouTube first if you have those green screen footage. So as you can see, there's a bunch of them here. The exact one that I've used, I'll make sure to attach in our video description as well. So once you get that, download it the same way you downloaded the YouTube video, and then we'll just get rid of the green screen, okay? And trust me, you'll find a whole lot of generic stuff that you want on YouTube as is for green screen. And the whole objective of these videos is for you to be able to use it, okay? So don't feel too bad. You see this? You see these sparks flying? Again, it helps the house integrate better with the video. These are just green screen sparks that we got from YouTube completely for free with. So to summarize, we got all the different facades that we need. We animated a few facades. We also animated some transitions. We pretty much have all the base content that we need to make the show. Now, you guys might be wondering how much does it actually cost to create all this AI content? In the spirit of transparency, here are the numbers. We created about 6 to 7 facades, I believe, which is around 10 cents each. And we created a few videos which cost about $1. So let's say about $1.50 is what it costs. Now let's face it, when it comes to AI content creation, there's a bunch of stuff that you don't end up using. So let's say 90% of the stuff is something that you don't end up using. So that'll still be around $15 for all of this content creation. Now, if you had to do it manually, assuming you had all these creative ideas handy and had the technical knowledge to execute these ideas, it would absolutely take days to get all this content done. So in that sense, $15 is an absolute game changer. We pretty much got all of this done within 15 minutes without the need to have any technical knowledge. And most importantly, as of now, during the filming of this video, there's a free trial with which you can give it a shot. You can use your map and see if all this AI content works for your particular map, your particular house. Do you like the output that it creates? You don't need to input any credit card information of any of those details. You are absolutely welcome to give it a shot, test things out, generate a few facades and videos, see if you like it, and only then move forward. Now, regardless of how you choose to generate your content, let's move on to the next step where we actually make our show. Okay, so here we go. We're back in our DaVinci Resolve project, and now we'll actually make the show. As you can see, we already had the video clip in here and our map in here. There's nothing else. The only other thing I've done is I've gotten all the content that we just generated. It's in our media pool. Now, first and foremost, before we put any facades and other content in, let's just put this video in the right spot so that we have a good reference to what all the other contents look like and the overall show. Okay, for that, let's turn on the map, and the intention is we want this video to be playing mostly on the garage. And don't worry, I'll move the video around, but as a base location where the video will play for the majority of the time, the garage is what I prefer because it's a flat surface with no real obstructions. Pretty much looks like a TV screen. So that's where I prefer to play my video. For you, it might be different spots. Make sure to go to Resolve Effects. Here, if it's not visible, make sure to turn on Effects. In here, search for Transform. This is it. Just drag the transform effect. Now, again, make sure that the video is selected. In case none of this is visible, turn on using Inspector and this Effects tab here. So this is the transform effect that we just added. Here, you're going to change it from slider to canvas. Okay, as you can see, nothing really happened. You want to be able to see the open effects controls. For that, this is what determines what controls you will be able to see. Like for example, if you do the regular transform, you can see the video shape, size, rotation, stuff like that. But here, since this is open effects, we want open effects controls. Okay, now let me give you a quick little tutorial on how to do this corner pinning stuff. Basically, if you use the middle of these squares, you can move the video around without altering it. If you use the sides, the top, bottom, or each of the sides, you can make the video taller, shorter, wider, stuff like that. And when you use the corners, basically you're changing the angle easily. Okay, so the best way to do this is, first and foremost, use the middle section, bring it to the approximate location, then use the side sections, get it to approximately the right size. There we go. Once that's done, use the corner pins to align the corners. Initially, this may not be as intuitive, but the more you do it, you'll soon get the hang of it. Here we go. So now the video is pretty much aligned to the garage, okay? And as you can see, it took less than a minute. That's it. The video is there and the entire video is going to play on the garage. For now, let's leave it there. And you might also notice that I've moved the video layer up to layer number 4. You can move it to any layer. The only intention is I need the facade layer under the video so that video still shows. Like for example, if I put a facade on top, the video will get hidden. Okay, so now let's start with our content edition. First and foremost, it's our Munchkin land. I'm just gonna pick here we go. This is it. Just going to add this right here. And as you can see, the clip has instantly aligned with the image, with your map. You didn't have to do any changes. So the software is designed so that the output resolution matches your map resolution, which instantly aligns. Worst case, in case something doesn't match up to your expectations and you have to move it slightly, make sure to click the video, click transform. You can of course change zoom settings, which will make the house bigger or shorter, or you can even manually adjust the size. But for now, as you can see, no adjustment is required. Alignment is perfect right from the get-go. That makes life a whole lot easier. As you can see, there are these black bars on the top and bottom of this video. In order to get rid of those, of course, I could have gotten rid while I gave you the clip, but most stuff that you'll download on YouTube will have those black bars, so I want you to know how to take care of those. All you got to do is come to cropping and then crop the top a little bit. There you go. And then crop the bottom. Again, the moment you put your cursor here, you don't have to type anything. Just click your mouse key and drag. I'm using a trackpad. It works just as easy. Okay, that's it. So we pretty much crop the black bars. That's it. This is probably where I would get Galinda's manor look. Okay, let's jump to that. It's right here. Again, you don't have to be too precise just yet. You can do all the fine tuning later. Like I said, step one, we are just dealing with putting all the clips in the right places. Okay, this is where the university comes in. By the way, this magnet controls, I'm turning it on and off using shortcut key N. So that helps me snap things to the edges and stuff. So sometimes you want to turn it off when you want to move freely, but sometimes you want it on. Okay, so this is our Shiz University facade. I'm just going to go through, okay, this right here. This is where it kind of transforms into the bedroom. So I'm just going to extend this image up to this point, and then we want this to transform into the bedroom. Let me look at it. Okay, that's this particular clip. So as you can see, so far all the images aligned just pretty much instantly. You didn't really have to do anything. When it comes to videos, you can see the video is quite smaller than the actual size of the map or your video resolution. And that's because, like I said previously, to generate a video that is 1920 by 1080, it would cost 4 times as much. And it's not efficient to spend all those credits trying to get high resolution every time. And in some of the future videos, you'll see that we've enhanced the resolution for those, and you'll see they are actually much bigger than 1920 by 1080. But for this one, all you need to do is just change the zoom settings. That's literally it, okay? That's how easy it is to align this. That's it. Let me play through the video. As you can see, it transforms into the bedroom. And once it's transformed into the bedroom, you want to just add the bedroom image. Here we go. Just make sure. Okay. So as you can see, okay, that's pretty much it. So we have our bedroom scene right here. And again, now we'll have Shiz University back again. Give me a second. Right here. This is where I'll convert it back to Shiz University, okay? I'll just extend the bedroom room till this point, put the university image back in here. I know I'm going pretty fast, but of course you can rewatch certain key sections if required. Now it comes to the Oz world right here. This is where the house converts to Oz world, okay? So this is a good example right here. This is our original video without upscaling. And this video right here, you know what? I'll turn off the map just so that you can see the difference in clarity and colors. Okay, so here we go, and this is the real one. As you can see, the default size is pretty high, but to make the comparison apples to apples, I'll just align both of them to the map and then show you the difference. And then you can decide if you want to spend credits on upscaling or not. By the way, there are other upscaling tools you might find online that you can use for free. Just use a workflow that's most efficient for you. Okay, so this is our regular video. As you can see, it's slightly grainy, and this is our upscaled video. As you can see, this is much sharper. So ideally, when you're playing something absolutely full screen like facade stuff, it is better to upscale. As you can see, there's clearly a noticeable difference. So that's what I do in this case, okay? But sometimes, let's say your facade is just sort of like brick texture or something. In that case, this graininess is not really going to matter. Let's move along. Now this section lasts for a while, right? But our clip is like 7 seconds long, I believe. But here, as you can see, throughout these spots, it's supposed to be the Oz world. And as you can see, it's significantly long. So all the way up to this spot right here, our clip is only this long. So we need to extend this. Okay, there's a bunch of ways you can do this. Let me go over them quickly. First is to retime the clip so that it's slower. Like I'm just pressing Command R. You can even right click and then click retime controls. And then change the speed to, let's say, 50%. So that means the clip will be twice as long. But of course, in our case, that's not practical because our speed will be like down to 2%, at which point it will be basically like a still image. So this is not practical. So I'm going to revert that. The other option, what you can do is, for most generic clips where it's just flashing and stuff, you just want to copy paste it. All I did is Command C, Command V. But the downside for that is, in this case, we have animation, especially with this robot moving along. So here it moves all the way to the end, but then it will keep starting over, which will look weird. It'll look like the robot is magically teleporting back to its starting point. Now that doesn't look good for our application. For that, I'll use a trick where basically I'm gonna use a trick. But before that, I personally like 75% speed. I just feel it's more soothing. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit, and then I'm gonna copy paste the clip. What we want is the end of the clip to be the same as the start of the next clip, right? So what I'm gonna do is just reverse this segment. So basically this clip will go in reverse. So as you can see, the robot got to that point, and then the robot's just gonna come back. Of course, the wheels are gonna spin different, the steam is gonna come down, which kind of looks awkward, but in my opinion, some of the steam is not gonna be visible because it's outside the house projection area. The wheel spinning is not that critical to me. Even if it spins back and forth, it still looks like a machine. And the robot moving back and forth looks kind of cool. Like, of course, if it's a human moving or there's like some waterfall kind of animation, it would look weird. But in our application right now, I'm good with just reversing it. Okay, and now I'm gonna copy both these clips and I'm gonna paste these as pairs. So that way everything's aligned, especially when it comes to the robot. So I still have my marker as reference. There we go. I'll just leave it here. And now we have another scene where this house turns into the Wicked Witch house. Let me figure that one out. That's this one. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start this video right here. But as you might imagine, because of this robot, it's going to be tricky because in this video, the robot's going to start back again. Just to keep things clean, I'm going to show you a little more advanced timing effects just to make it clear. But again, I can't stress this enough. Absolutely do not get bogged down by these minor adjustments. No one in the audience is even going to notice all this. I'm just showing you some of the advanced retiming skills for your future shows. You don't have to do this at all. You can just put clips one after the other. The average person viewing your show is just going to be wowed no matter what. Okay, so don't stress about it. But let me show you some of the techniques regardless for your future show. So here, this is where our video starts. But we don't want the video animation to start until this point, right? So we want to sort of pause the animation basically at that point. So here we're going to go back. Let me just zoom this so that it looks normal size. Okay. So now I want to pause the screen pretty much. I'm going to do Command R for retime controls and then select the option for freeze frame. Okay. So you see this red indication right here? That means it's basically like a picture, nothing moves, and you can look at the steam to know like steam's not moving, so it's basically an image. So basically up to this point you want it to be an image. So I'll click the top part of this handle and just move it. If you move the bottom part, that changes which point in the scene you want to change speed up to. So let's say up to this point I want it to be a little slower because I feel that's cool and I want that part to be slower. So I'm going to add another speed point, and here as you can see there's one more handle now. The video is divided into 3 sections. The middle section that I want it slower, I'm going to do 75%, or I can do it manually like this. I'll change the speed. Okay, I just like 75%. So that's basically it. So basically you could add any number of speed points and play with the timing as required, but again, you can just dump the video as is. All this is not required at all. Now finally, now that the video has ended, we have our witch house animation video, this one. I'm gonna bring that over. Thankfully, we did upscale this one. Let me go back out in here and just tweak that. I think that aligns pretty well. Just gonna leave it at that. Now I'm gonna do the simple technique where I'm just gonna copy paste it one after the other. And you'll see why. For example, here the lights kind of dim and then instantly the lights pop out. I feel that'll give a cool dramatic flair, and that's precisely what I want. So I'm just gonna paste it one after the other pretty much all the way to the very end. Okay, now that's literally it. Let's review what we have so far. First and foremost, we have our Munchkin Land House, then we have Galinda's Castle, then we have Shez University, then we have the bedroom transition, then we have the bedroom scene, again the university, and we have Oswald, the fire, and then we have this animation that keeps going, looping forever pretty much, and then the house transforms into a witch house, and then as you can see the windows and stuff flicker. Okay, so basically the base projection is completely done. Like I said, at this point, you can literally call it done. It barely took us any time to just put the video content and the facades and this and call it done. So for a base level show with some level of storytelling, this is a fairly good show. And now you can work on adding some of the enhancing features if you have time to integrate the house better with the storytelling theme and make it a better show. Okay, now before we jump into some of those green screen effects, let me show you some of the transitions I spoke of. Like for example, we did this cool bedroom transition, right, in AI. But I do recommend you guys not using AI transitions all the time because I don't want you guys to be spending credits on my website unnecessarily. AI transitions look good when something's transforming or something's like magical creepers and stuff is growing. AI transitions look good. But if you just want to transform the house, like in this case, you can just use video transitions that are part of your video editor. Like for example, in this case, I'll show you some of my favorite ones. Under video transitions, I'll use noise dissolve. This is something that I like. Again, all this is free as part of your video editor. So like I said, there's no reason to spend credits on videos for every scene. And there you go. I personally like this. This seems kind of magical. So I'll use that. Now here is another transition. I'll use something called a foreground wipe. Of course, you can play with all the transitions. As you can see, there's a whole lot of them. Based on all my experiments, I'm showing you some of my favorite ones, but you can see there's a bunch of them that you can just even try. You don't even have to put it on the scene to see what it looks like. Okay, you get a preview right there. So I personally like this, and you want the transitions to be fairly long so that it's noticeable. If it's like half a second, your audience would miss it. So this is foreground wipe, where it's just pretty much swipes left to right, or you can change the direction, I believe. That's it. And then again, here there's no real rhyme or reason. Whatever seems appropriate for the particular scene, you can add it. This is something I like. There we go. And now let's move on to some of the other ones. I'm just going to focus on the scene a little bit. Oh, by the way, okay, so this scene right here where the lights go off, so this is where I'm going to turn off our facade. Okay, right here. So I'll just, again, you can just cut the clip right here, get rid of it, and then let's figure out where we want the facade to come again. I'd probably say at this point we want the facade to come again when she's shouting out loud, I guess. Okay, so let's keep it rough. We don't have to be extremely precise. I'll just elongate it a little further. I like a transition called burn away. This is one of my favorite, most commonly used transition. That's it. So let me show you what it looks like. As you can see, it you can customize it. First and foremost, since the lights turn off top to bottom, I'm going to change the angle so that, sorry, here we go. It's going top to bottom. Now I do not need the red color over there, the burning stuff. So I'm going to turn off the burn. And by the way, you can even change the color of the burn. So you know what, rather than turning it off, I'm going to make it green by changing the hue. Then the char color, again, I'm going to make that green as well. Okay, minor customizations, nothing crazy. That's it. Looks a little magical, I would say. And now you got to, I'm going to apply the same thing when the house is coming back alive. Put the burn away effect again. Again, make it longer so that the audience has time to process it, to go from bottom to top, just to give a cool visual. Then I'm going to change the burn hue to make it green, and the char color, I'm going to make it green as well. So basically this is what it looks like. Okay, that's it. As you can see, transitions are extremely easy, but the AI transitions, like I said, are handy when you have a different start scene and an end scene. Your video editor is not gonna be able to figure out like magical changes in between. So at that time, you use AI for the cool effects. Like again, just to reiterate the example, your video editor cannot do this, the leaves growing and stuff and cool transitions. That is not something that your video editor can do. For that, use AI. Okay, there you go. So that's literally it when it comes to all of the transitions, facades, and the video playing. Okay, that's it. Now, next step, we want to add a little more dynamic element to the video. We don't want the video to be constantly playing on the garage for 5 straight minutes. That's kind of boring. Let's cause some change over here so that the audience eyes keep moving and we capture their attention. During flashback, I'm gonna switch it up. Okay, I'm gonna make a cut right here. You can use the arrow keys for more precise controls. And I'm just gonna switch the layer. Switching layers is not required at all, but it helps you identify which video layer is where. Okay, so you know, like the stuff on layer number 4 is on the garage, the ones above, I'm gonna put them right here. Again, I'm looking for high impact scenes. Let's say this jump looks kind of cool. This one I'll put on the top layer. Okay, and now, oops. Okay, now this cool train. This train, of course, deserves its highlight. So here we go. I'm gonna get to this point, move the train over. Okay. And you know what? I'm gonna create one more layer, which is pretty much the entire house. I'm gonna move it one more layer up. I'm not just moving it to the top layer. And you'll see what I mean. Again, this is just an example. I think this will look good on top layer as well. Finally, I'll move this scene. Also, I'm gonna make the final scene on the very top of the house. Okay? There we go. Okay, so let me zoom out a bit. So as you can see, this is our video. We have all this that plays in the garage, all this on the layer 5. I'm going to play it right here, and these couple of clips I'm going to play on the entire house. Okay, so here we go. First and foremost, let's start with this. The exact same thing we did with OpenFX. Since these clips already have OpenFX applied when we move them to the garage, we don't have to do anything much. We just have to turn on those controls. Again, use the middle square, move its position, and then elongate the clip using the side controls pretty much, and then use the corner controls to fine tune it. Okay, so that's literally it. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you one thing that I accidentally cropped before. So let me show you that once again. Now I want all these videos on layer 5 to behave like this. So for that, what I'm going to do is Command C. I'll just move the cursor here so you can see a reference. Select all the clips that I want to move, and then Option V. Okay, so again, you can just select everything to copy. I always uncheck retime effects just because if there is any speed edit, I don't want to change that. But just retime effects. Ideally, you just want to paste plugin because transform was a plugin, but it's much easier to just select all and apply unless you've done something custom. As you can see, all of these clips have moved exactly how we wanted. It's moved to where the clip was. Okay, that's it. So now same thing with the topmost one. Now this video, I want it to show up on the entire house. I'm just going to center it a little bit and then just drag it and move the whole thing. Again, doesn't have to be extremely precise. We just intend to show the grandeur of the scene. Okay, whatever best fits the characters in. Since my house is a little tilted, I'm going to do that as well. And as you can see, my house is only up to this point, so extending the clip further, we kind of lose out on some of the detail. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Now again, Command C to copy and apply the exact same effect here. Option V, paste. That's it. Everything's right here. In fact, I might tweak this a little bit. Okay. Okay, let me get this clear. That's it. So now we have all of the video effects done. The facades are in place. All the transitions are done. And now I would say it's pretty much a full-fledged show. There's a bunch of stuff happening. Again, you can place multiple video layers, have each of the windows play different stuff. You can literally use the same technique to play videos as many places as you want. It'll just make your videos more dynamic. Okay, now to add a little more detail, we need to add some of the green screen stuff that we created. First and foremost, it's the Galinda descending in the bubble. So here, so pretty much she shows up right here. So I would say let her appear. Okay, this is where I'll get the scene in. Okay, just to keep things clean, I'm just going to move it on a different layer and not on that video layer in case we make any change and accidentally copy paste it. I'm just going to give it its own layer. Again, not required at all. And again, there's a bunch of space that I've left in between. There's no harm in leaving extra blank layers. You can always add stuff. It just makes it easier. Okay, now let's work on this green screen. Okay, so for that, it's extremely simple. All you do is have the clip selected. Under Open Effects, type 3D keyer. By the way, you can favorite all the stuff that you generally use. As you can see for me, there is our transform, drop shadow, 3D keyer. That's pretty much what I always use. So just drag and drop the 3D keyer. You can see these controls. Again, make sure this Open Effects is highlighted, without which the controls won't really work. And then just draw. Just make sure to get rid of all the green. Since this has some green shading, you might need a couple of extra strokes. Okay, that's it. All of that is gone. Next up, there is some green hue around the bubbles. For that, just crank the descale. Like, don't even worry about fine tuning, just crank it all the way. That's literally it. Your green screen is taken care of. Now we want to move the bubble. This is called keyframing, and at start it might be confusing, but trust me, do a simple keyframe, get the hang of it, and you'll be able to figure out more complex stuff later. Have the clip selected, go to the basic transform. Again, come to this video transform right here. These little white diamonds, those are keyframes. You can pretty much keyframe any setting you want. But to start things off, let's move the video to where we want it to start. Like, I want the video to start slightly out of the frame. I'm gonna add a keyframe. That's it. And now towards the end, pretty much, let's say right here, I want the video to be right here. So I'm just gonna move it. As you can see, this red line shows you how the video is gonna move. So the software doesn't do anything complex. We are telling the software, hey, at the start we want it here. Pretty much at this point, we want it at this particular spot. Okay, that's literally what the software is calculating. That's it. As you can see, we have a steady linear motion as the video moves along. That's literally it. But like I said, let's say at this point you want the bubble to go here. You just move it. So the software will calculate the new position. Okay, and you can even see those in the keyframes. As you can see, these arrows, you can move through the different keyframes. Right now there are 3. There is a start, middle, and end, right? And you can also see what changed. The position zoom changed because the circle got smaller and the position changed. That's basically it. And if you want to get rid of this, just click the red dot. You got rid of it. Okay, we have this fire effect. I'm going to show you that as well, just for reference. The fire, we have a fire here. We had a marker. So I'm gonna make sure we get to the marker. Then we have these fire effects right here. Oh, okay, there we go. That's our fire. But you can figure out, if it's a longer clip, you can just cut off where the fire starts and use that clip. Oops, sorry. Hopefully that works. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. That's where the fire starts. Again, for green screen, just use the 3D keyer and then use this plus sign. Make sure you're in Open Effects. In this case, it's a flat green screen. It's done instantly, and crank up descale. That's literally it when it comes to green screen. Use the transform again, and now you want to align the flames to where you want it to show. Like for me, like I said, the shutters are pretty terrible. Nothing shows up there. They're black shutters. So I'm gonna place it right in between the shutters. Okay. So that's done. Now I'm gonna copy paste them. Copy paste these clips basically. You can use Command C, Command V, or on Mac you can like press the Option key and drag it. I think on Windows it's the Alt key. So basically you get the same clip twice. This effect is one of the most handy to make things seem more 3D. Now this might seem illogical with fire, but I'll show you regardless. It's a drop shadow. It creates a sense of depth. Okay, so here all I did is add drop shadow. I'm going to increase the shadow strength, and then the shadow angle, you can change the angle, and the drop distance. So in terms of the angle, I usually refer to where my projector is, because usually the projector is the brightest thing out there, which is kind of responsible for most of the shadows that the user would see out there. So since my projector is in the middle, I'm going to put a shadow right here, and I'm going to do a similar effect. Again, you don't need to do this effect for fire, but I want to show you conceptually so that in case you put some sort of character or a freaking dragon, you can put a pretty cool shadow as well. There we go. I think it adds pretty significant depth to the scene. Okay, now we have our second fire somewhere in here. I would say, let's see. Oh, actually here we go. That's where our second fire is. I'm just gonna select both these clips, hold the option key, drag it. We don't need to worry about all the effect. So it's always best to work on one clip and then just copy paste it. Okay, so that's literally it. I would recommend doing the exact same thing with the sparks right here. When the lights go off, I have the sparks green screen attached in the description as well for you to follow along, but I don't want to take up your time during this tutorial. It's these sparks. So whenever these sparks hit, put bunch of sparks in random places, it will look kind of cool. Okay, so that's literally it, guys. When it comes to creating a show, basically turn off the mask at this point. Now you're wondering, there's a bunch of stuff that's outside the borders of the house, which would probably not show up. For me, it's not a big deal because it'll probably be projected onto the sky and basically invisible. But you might have trees or your neighbor's house where you don't want all this to be projected and kind of destroy the illusion. You want to restrict everything to within the house. So for that, you would use basic masking that you always do. In the next video, I'll go over a cool new technique where you can easily mask everything inside the house without having to draw it each and every time. Okay, I'm pretty sure you'll love the technique. Just keep an eye out for my next video, which should drop in like a day or two. I'll go over exactly how perfect masking is achieved in a matter of minutes. So that's it, guys. Your show is pretty much ready. All you need to do is turn off your map file, export the video content, and you should be ready to play it on your projector. By the way, if you have any questions or comments regarding any aspect that we covered today, just drop a comment down below and I'll make sure to answer them. And for those of you who are still with me to this point, thanks a lot for your patience. See you in the next video.